Yes. Okay, so let me tell you about day 9. Hopefully removing the glasses will help my focus. So in late 2009, I started doing a daily StarCraft show because I didn't quite have enough time to play, to do all the analysis and fun stuff that I liked. And I still wanted to watch the pro matches and do the analysis stuff, and I just made the show happen 1 hour a day, every day, just to kind of make myself do this thing. I thought it would be really fun, and it's kind of a nice way to discuss StarCraft because you have the video on the screen. It's not like writing an article where you're trying to like describe micro or something like that. And I just kept doing this because I really enjoyed it, and then it started to snowball and grow, and I was still in grad school at the time, but then I started to go to a ton of events because StarCraft 2 came out, and fast forward 3 years later, and here I am. Day 9 TV is officially a business with people scurrying about trying to clean up all the problems I create, and it's a lot of fun. Work ethic is basically a muscle that you build up. I would say that I've had increasing experiences from college to grad school to now that have worked that muscle. So I don't know if I worked more or less, but there's certain situations you get plopped in that you just have to push through. Let's say it's a Wednesday, just a Wednesday, right? And you have a daily to do, and a girl broke your heart that day. I know I'm kind of doing the goofy sort of face right now, the intonation, but like literally imagine a terrible, awful breakup, and you feel terrible, and it's 5 p.m. and you have a show in 2 hours. Got to do the show, right? That you can't just like show me, God, I'm sorry I got dumped and I'm sad. Oh God, that is the fastest recipe to like collapse an industry, right? Is for a whole bunch of people to just you don't tune into the radio and have the guy be like, well, I'm gonna play a song by Rihanna, but I don't know, I'm kind of tired, I'm really upset, I'm gonna fight with my mom last night. That's just inappropriate and unprofessional. And in college, maybe you didn't have that experience. Maybe you got dumped and you're like, I'll just get a B. You didn't turn that paper in. So or like today, I stayed after to say hi to like fans and stuff afterwards, and I left here at 2 a.m. And then I walked back, and I got in and ended up going to bed at like 3 or 3:15. Then I had to get up at like 8. So I'm kind of tired. Okay, well, I'm still going to cast today, and I'm going to like do all the stuff, and it just doesn't matter, right? You just sort of defer that, and it's not something that you need to be born with or any bullshit. You just sort of gradually build it up over time. I don't think I ever really considered like retiring per se, because when you have something that's your own, like Day 9 TV, I can actually do whatever I want with. I could make it a cooking show if I so desired. And if you look at the evolution of the daily over time, it sort of has kind of had a slowly changing trajectory to it. I mean, obviously, the show has sort of changed with whatever mood I'm in on the day, but, deciding to start a league that's not a league for pros, it's for corporations, huh? Let's just try that. Well, let me try to do like a launch party. That was one of the early things that went on. Okay, let's see how that feels. So, honestly, if I ever felt the urge to do something, there wasn't a deliberation process where I said, do I want to be a commentator or be that? I just did it. But I think the sort of more important underlying question you're getting at is, do I ever just wake up and think, totally. I think everyone experiences that. Again, you have a terrible breakup with a girl, your brain wants to focus on it, and you have to be like, no brain, no. Don't wallow. You have to like force yourself to do it. Or some days I wake up and, like even today in this interview, I have botched 1,000,001 attempts at answering questions. But like, where was I going with it? Oh yeah, like even in this interview, I've botched 1,000,001 questions, right? I've totally flubbed answering. My brain just sucks sometimes, and there's so many days I'm just like, I can't figure out a topic. I can't, right? And that's really frustrating because you just can't get it out of your head. But you just plow forward and don't look backwards. Just keep charging. I think it's important. I had so many great experiences playing, Brood War with my friends growing up, playing in tournaments, meeting amazing people, getting to travel around, and that experience of it all was just cool. It was just delightful, and it's fun to sort of share that. And I mean, not just with competitive gaming, but with games in general, how influential and important a medium that is. So, I mean, a lot of people talk about passion, but I think dedication is so much more important, that you're just like, you know what, this is great. And there are some days when I won't want to play games, when I will actually just want to fish. Something that is so analog, right? There's no iPhone app for fishing. You just scan the lake and a fish lands, right? It's like super detached. But that doesn't mean that you just abandon gaming, right? If you have that feeling, that's fine, but you dedicate to it. Probably so I have two favorites. One, I just like the game. That's one of my favorite aspects. I work with a game I think is cool. Every day doing the daily, it's a fun discovery process. The act of slowing down the thought process to a talking pace kind of makes my own brain work through ideas in a different way than just like watching a replay and going, So it helps me learn more, and learning just feels good. My brain just tingles, and I'm like, yeah, I get the shiver. But probably the much more influential reason is that the people are just awesome. Like with everyone who has ever come up to me has been like the nicest person ever at an event. You never get weird people again. You never get, oh my God, cries, love me, like, blah, there's like too many emotions within. That never happens. I mean, if I'm like, a lot of times I'll run to the restroom, right? Because they're like, you have 90 seconds. That's how long the commercial is, and we're going live, and like running, and someone's like, can you sign? I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm live in a second. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to bother. Like, you can't imagine the amount of people who are like, I'm really sorry. Because one of the painful things I know, like a lot of like real celebrities deal with, is this like, please sign, oh God, and like they're literally ignoring what the celebrity's obligations are and just like begging. Mm-hmm. But you just don't really get that at these events. People are just like, could you sign? Are you busy? Oh, sorry, I'm really sorry I bothered. I'm like, wow, that's nice. Holy shit. And in like all the chat channels, like Day 9 TV chat channel, everyone's just a bunch of sweethearts. Emails I get from people are just like, oh my God. It's like, that's what I do from 9 to 9:30 before I'm like, oh shit, time to work. So that's great. And also just like a lot of people in the industry itself are just the same passionate people as you. And that's just fun to like go to events and be like, hey, have you been? They're like, I'm pulling out my hair, but I got the event up. And I'm like, yeah, you're awesome, you know? So that's a lot of fun. So what I really like about StarCraft 2 is that, first of all, it's a competitive game, and I like a lot of competitive games. Like, I watched a ton of Counter-Strike growing up, fighting games of many sorts, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, yeah, Street Fighter 4. And they, along with StarCraft, kind of have this common thread of you never quite hit the bottom of the well. It always feels like you could get a little bit deeper with those strategies and one-up the other player. And that's what's fun about StarCraft, is that, this is a terrible analogy, but I'm going to use it. It's almost like these epic soap operas that have been going on for 25 years, where you see the characters, it's like the same actress aging, and there's a character that you followed for 7 years, and moments that happen in that character's life you can relate to because you've known this person for so long. Like, that's how the strategies and the structure in StarCraft 2 feels, where, wow, that strategy has been around for like a year and a half, and they just figured out that it's actually terrible. They've solved that. You're moving on from that, and the play styles are just shifting over time. Like, every day you wake up and a little bit more has been written in the story of how people figured out StarCraft 2. So that just makes it exciting. I mean, honestly, a lot of the dailies I do are, holy crap, here's a crazy strategy that I saw like 2 days ago, and now I'm starting to see everyone do it just like 1 day later, and let's talk about it, right? So that's the big appealing aspect. And why StarCraft among those? I just like resource management. I think resource management's totally fun. You totally manage resources in StarCraft 2, totally. It is like exactly the same, like the experience of like entrepreneur versus like playing StarCraft in a sense, because it's all about this like resource management idea. And there's this weird sort of fallacy that exists, like certainly in the youth, but also just in people who've only ever just held a normal job, where the idea of the money has to come from somewhere. The money just doesn't happen, right? Like, if I do this event, that's great. I did this event. And next month, where does the money come from? The month after that, where does the money come from? And there's all sort of like, oh my God. And you realize really quickly that, you know, if you want to host an event insurance is a 4-digit sum of money. But a lot of people didn't even know there was such a thing as event insurance, but you have to have it to do an event at like every venue. So it's like, okay, well, all right, well, that money has to come from somewhere, and you like start trying to like solve all these issues. And the fact that you're so constrained is what makes it really fun and interesting. The fact that you're basically broke, scrambling, trying to figure out some way to, where are we going to get the event insurance money from? Like, that's an interesting problem to have. And at the end of the day, just as in, you know, a game like SimCity or StarCraft, where you carefully took your resources and built your base or your army or your city, and you look at it and you're like, made that. It's awesome. It's that feeling of being like, yeah, look at that logo for Day 9 TV. Isn't that cool? Yeah, like that feeling, and then having someone come up and be like, oh, I watched your show or attended this event and it was great. I'm just like, so the reward is certainly quite a bit more personal at the Day 9 TV level, but the one difference is that you never get to stop playing the entrepreneur game. When you go to bed, you literally could have stayed up another hour and done just a little bit more work, and you have to like train yourself to just call it quits at some point. Let's be honest, no one's getting rich in esports. There's not players making like, you know, $700,000 a year, you know, just by signing onto a team or something like that. None of the commentators are like rolling in the dough or anything. It's a bunch of people who do it because they enjoy it. But because there's not enough money to create the structure and these barriers, there's this cellophane wall between you and the community. I wake up and I'll hop on my favorite site. Actually, I have the shirt, teamliquid.net. I'll get on there, and there will be people talking about me. Talking about things that I've never actually done, that they think I've done, that they're like judging me on. Do I get involved in that? Do I not? I mean, the correct answer is that you don't, because it's like, well, what am I going to do? Be like, no, I didn't do that. And they're like, well, prove it, right? And then you get into that, and you're like, well, I wouldn't want to post documentation, you know, PDF on the forum. Right, but like, so you see that and you're just sort of like, okay, I have to resist this, I have to stay focused. Then you go to an event and you're tired because, I don't know, maybe there was an illness in the family. Maybe there was just, your flight got delayed and you were up really late. And you're doing the cast and you're trying to focus, but it's not quite coming out right, and you can feel it. You're frustrated at yourself. And then there's 100,000 people online who are like, well, he's doing a really terrible job. Like, all the players experience this, all the commentators experience this. And in a sense, the community is just sort of having fun talking to each other. But again, there's a thin wall. We're all involved in the same places where the communities are talking because we're of the community. And players just have the hardest time ever. This is why you see players not streaming. It's just like too much for a lot of players. This is why you see players just saying no to a lot of events and just going, nope, only going to do them in Europe. Totally not going to go there. And some of the healthiest players I've seen are the ones who just go to a very small number of tournaments, do some streaming, have decent positions on teams, and don't sweat it.
If you like competition, this game is for you.
It's basically the same as any big city. There's a few little things that are different, but yeah, I really enjoy it. The food's awesome, and living with cats is a lot of fun, and we have a maid, and
Apologies, I just need to make sure this isn't the producer. My phone is excellent, this is fucking so good. It was totally like 8 hot bitches.
Yeah.
I'm an irresistible stallion.
I wouldn't doubt it.